He never planned to be a hero that night, not while feeding his daughter in a quiet corner of a diner he could barely afford. But fate doesn't ask for permission. It just walks in, sometimes wearing a red dress, with eyes full of fear. It was a Friday night, the kind that made loneliness louder. The diner buzzed with laughter and clinking plates, families sharing fries, couples holding hands, everything Liam had once dreamed of but lost too soon. Across the table, his 6-year-old daughter, Emma, was coloring on a napkin, humming to herself. She was the reason he still breathed, even when life felt too heavy. Liam was a single dad, not by choice, but by a twist of life that had taken his wife, Claire, far too early. Since then, every smile Emma gave him was both a reminder and a miracle. He worked long shifts at a construction site, took small freelance repair jobs in the evenings, and somehow managed to keep their tiny apartment running. It wasn't much, but it was theirs. That night, he just wanted peace, a cheap dinner and a few quiet moments with his little girl. But peace doesn't always stay where you put it. It started with raised voices. A woman, elegant, out of place in that greasy diner, sat a few tables away. Her hair was perfectly styled, her red dress catching every flicker of light. Across from her sat a man, expensive watch glinting as his temper flared. He leaned forward, his voice sharp, his hand slamming the table. Liam tried to ignore it. He'd seen scenes like that before, people fighting over pride or power. But when the man grabbed her wrist, hard enough to make her flinch, something inside Liam snapped. Before he knew it, he was standing. "Hey! Let her go." The diner went silent. The man turned, his face full of the kind of arrogance that thought money could buy fear. "This isn't your business." "Maybe not," Liam said, stepping closer. But she said stop. The man stood up, taller and bulkier than Liam, but anger made Liam's back straighter. The woman's eyes darted between them, pleading, terrified, and something else, hope. When the man shoved her, Liam didn't think. His fist moved faster than his thoughts. The man hit the floor, groaning. Gasps filled the diner. The woman grabbed her purse and stumbled out the door. Minutes later, the police came, took statements, and the man, apparently a wealthy investor, threatened to sue. But the woman had already vanished. All that remained was the sound of Emma's soft voice saying, "Daddy, you did the right thing." He smiled faintly, but fear crawled under his skin. He didn't know if he'd just made a mistake that could cost them everything. Days passed. Nothing happened. Life went back to its gray rhythm, work, bills, bedtime stories. Then, one quiet afternoon, someone knocked on his door. When he opened it, he froze. A sleek black car was parked outside. A man in a tailored suit stood there, not the woman, but someone who clearly didn't belong in his part of town. "Mr. Carter?" the man asked. "My employer would like to speak with you." Liam frowned. "Who's your employer?" The man gave a small smile. "The woman you helped." He didn't know what to say. "Tell her, she doesn't owe me anything." "She insists," the driver replied. "And she's waiting." Emma tugged at his sleeve, whispering, "Can we go, Daddy?" Liam looked at her small hopeful face. Maybe curiosity, maybe destiny, but something made him nod. The car drove them into another world. Through polished gates, past fountains and marble pillars, until they stopped before a mansion that looked like a dream drawn by a rich child. Inside, the woman waited, the same one from the diner, only calmer now. "Mr. Carter," she said softly, stepping forward. "I never got to thank you." He shrugged awkwardly. "You don't have to. I just did what anyone would." "Not everyone would," she replied. Most people looked away. Her name was Isabella Lane, founder of a global charity, heiress to a business empire, and the kind of person Liam had only read about. Yet she spoke to him not like a billionaire, but like someone who'd been broken once and rebuilt herself carefully. She offered him tea, asked about Emma, and listened as he spoke about his late wife, his struggles, his hopes. There was something healing in the way she listened, not out of pity, but understanding. Then she surprised him. "I've been thinking," Isabella said. "I run a foundation for children from single-parent homes. We need someone honest, grounded, someone like you. Would you consider working with us?" Liam blinked. "Me? I'm not." "You're exactly the kind of person who makes a difference," she interrupted gently. He looked at Emma, who smiled wider than he'd seen in months. Maybe this was the second chance they needed. He accepted. Weeks turned into months. Liam found purpose again, helping others, fixing more than just broken things. Isabella became a friend, then something more complicated. She'd visit their small home sometimes, helping Emma with schoolwork, laughing at Liam's attempts to cook. There was warmth again, where grief used to live. But life doesn't give gifts without testing them. One day, news broke, tabloids flashing headlines, Isabella Lane involved with working-class single father. The whispers grew louder, investors questioned her judgment, and the board of her charity demanded she distance herself. Liam told her, "You don't owe us anything. I'll leave." But she looked at him, eyes steady. "You saved me once, Liam. Let me do the same for you." She didn't hide, didn't run. She faced the cameras and said, "This man showed me what real kindness looks like. If that costs me everything, so be it." The storm eventually calmed. People began to see the story for what it was, not scandal, but sincerity. Months later, Liam stood outside that same diner, hand in hand with Emma, and Isabella beside them. The same neon lights glowed overhead, but this time, he wasn't alone in the world. Sometimes, saving someone doesn't just change their life, it saves yours too. And for Liam Carter, the man who once thought his story was over, it was only just beginning.